first time I met Rafa, I was on the way to his academy. Oh my gosh, I was on the way to his academy because I was gonna try it out.
2, 3, 4.
RAFA'S Shocking Confession, the secret daughter who turned heartbreak into gold. Welcome back to Champions Tennisitics, the home of the real stories behind the rackets. Before we dive into today's absolute bombshell, I have to take a second to say a massive thank you. We just hit 1,000 subscribers. That is 1,000 of you joining this family. And honestly, we are just getting started. The support has been insane, and we've got big things coming in the new year. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Now, let's get into the story that has the entire tennis world reaching for the tissues. You think you know Rafael Nadal. You know the grit, the clay, the bite on the trophy. But you have never heard him speak like this. We are used to Rafa the warrior, but this week, we saw Rafa the father figure. And it wasn't about his own children. It was about a girl he met nearly a decade ago. A girl who came to him from halfway across the world, small, shy, but with a fire in her eyes that reminded the king of clay of his own reflection. "I see her like my own daughter," Rafael Nadal said. His voice cracked. The reporters in the room went silent. It wasn't a scripted PR statement. It was raw. It was real. He was talking about Alex Ila. He recalled that very first day he saw her, just 12 years old, dragging a racket bag almost as big as she was, standing on the immaculate courts of his academy in Mallorca. Most kids that age are intimidated by Rafa. They freeze. But Nadal said that when he looked at Alex, he didn't see fear. He saw hunger. An extraordinary, terrifying hunger. He said it was as if she was born to step into the biggest battles the tennis world could offer, as if she was waiting for the war before she even knew how to march. For years, the cameras caught glimpses of them. Rafa correcting her forehand. Rafa smiling from the balcony as she drilled. But behind the scenes, a different drama was unfolding. A drama of separation, heartbreak, and a sacrifice so deep it nearly tore a family apart. And this is where the story takes a turn that no one saw coming. Because after Rafa made that beautiful, tearful admission, calling her his daughter, Alex Ila responded. And she didn't just say thank you. She revealed a secret that has been locked in her heart for years. "My heart shattered when I heard my father say it," Alex shared. The room froze. Was this a feud? Was this a family betrayal? No. It was something far more painful. It was the sound of a parent letting go. To understand why those words shattered her, we have to go back. We have to go back to the Philippines, to a home filled with love, where a young girl had a dream that was too big for her backyard. Alex wasn't just good. She was a prodigy. But to become a legend, she had to leave. She had to leave the comfort of her home, her friends, and most importantly, her parents. The father Alex referred to was her biological father, Mike Ila, the man who had been her rock, the man who drove her to practice, who wiped her tears, who celebrated every tiny victory. The tabloids won't tell you this part, but we will. The moment she is talking about is the moment the decision was made to send her to Spain. To Rafa, imagine being a father. You look at your little girl, and you know that for her to soar, you have to cut the string. You have to let her fly thousands of miles away to a strange land, to grow up without you. Mike Ila looked at his daughter, and with a heart breaking into a million pieces, he told her she had to go. He told her that her destiny wasn't in his arms, but on the red clay of Mallorca. When Alex heard him say that, when she heard him push her towards her dream at the cost of their closeness, she didn't hear support. At 12 years old, she heard goodbye. "My heart shattered," she said. She thought he was sending her away. She didn't understand that it was the ultimate act of love. She carried that shard of glass in her heart for years. Every time she missed a birthday, every time she cried herself to sleep in a dorm room in Spain, that memory replayed. Why did he let me go? But that pain, that heartbreak, it became her fuel. Fast forward to today. The Rafa Nadal Academy. The red dirt is baked by the Spanish sun. Alex Ila is no longer the 12-year-old girl. She is a woman. She is a warrior. And she has just done the unthinkable. The world watched her grow, stronger, calmer. She started winning junior Grand Slams. She started climbing the WTA rankings. But there was always a shadow hanging over her. The shadow of the protégé. The girl who was Rafa's project. Critics whispered that she was only there because of the marketing, because of the story. They said she didn't have the killer instinct to make it on the pro tour. They said she was too nice, too fragile. Oh, how wrong they were. The 2025 season has been a grind. Injuries, first-round exits, moments where the press wrote her off. But Alex stayed silent. She went back to the court. She went back to the drills Rafa taught her. Suffer now, champion later. And then came the gold medal match. This wasn't just any tournament. This was for her country. This was for the Philippines. But more than that, this was for the two men who had shaped her life. The father who let her go, and the father figure who took her in. The match was brutal. 3 sets of grueling, physical tennis. Her opponent was a wall, returning everything, taunting her with drop shots, pushing Alex to the absolute limit of her endurance. In the second set, Alex looked done. Her legs were cramping. She was down a break. The crowd was nervous. You could see the doubt creeping into her eyes. And then, something happened. Witnesses say Alex looked up at the player's box. She didn't look at her coach. She looked at an empty seat. A seat she had reserved for her father, who couldn't be there that day. And in that empty seat, she saw the ghost of that memory. She saw the sacrifice. She realized, finally, that he didn't send her away to get rid of her. He sent her away so she could own this very moment. The shatter in her heart didn't break her. It built her. Alex Ila stood up. She wiped the clay off her legs. And she unleashed a level of tennis that we haven't seen since a young Nadal stormed Roland Garros in 2005. She stopped playing the ball. She started playing the opponent. Heavy topspin. Ferocious angles. Screaming winners down the line. She clawed her way back, point by bloody point. When the final ball was struck, a forehand winner that painted the line, Alex didn't fall to the ground. She didn't scream. She stood perfectly still. The stadium erupted. The Philippines had its gold. History was made. But it was what she did next that went far beyond anyone's imagination. Usually, a player climbs into the stands. They hug their team. They take the flag. Alex did none of that. She walked to the center of the court, asked for the microphone, and she did something that silenced the cheering crowd. She spoke directly to the camera, her eyes locking onto the lens, speaking to two men thousands of miles apart. I used to think I was broken, she said, her voice trembling but strong. I used to think that love meant holding on tight. But today, I know the truth. Love is brave enough to let go. To my dad, Mike, you broke your own heart so I could find mine. And to Rafa, you picked up the pieces and showed me how to build a champion. And then, the action that shocked everyone. Alex took the gold medal, the most prestigious honor of her career, the thing she had bled for, and she didn't put it around her neck. She walked over to her kit bag, pulled out a marker, and wrote 2 names on the ribbon, Mike and Rafa. She looked at the camera and said, "This isn't mine. It's ours." It was a gesture of such profound humility and gratitude that even the commentators were choking up. In a sport dominated by egos, by I, by me, Alex Ila chose us. This is the girl Rafa Nadal calls his daughter. Not because of blood, but because of spirit. He saw the fire, yes, but he also saw the heart. He knew that the pain of leaving home would either destroy her or define her. And he was there, every step of the way, ensuring it was the latter. Nadal's emotional confession this week makes so much sense now. When he said, "I see her like my own daughter," he wasn't just talking about tennis. He was talking about watching a child grow into a hero. He knows his time on the court is ending. The knees hurt. The body is tired. The king is preparing to hang up his crown. But he isn't leaving the kingdom empty. He has raised an heir. And let's be honest, the timing of this couldn't be more dramatic. We are looking at the 2026 season right around the corner. The Australian Open is looming. The critics are already buzzing. Can Alex Ila transition this regional dominance to the Grand Slam stage? Is she the next Swiatek? The next Sabalenka? If this week has taught us anything, it's that you do not bet against Alex Ila. You do not bet against a girl who turned her heartbreak into gold. We are seeing a changing of the guard, folks. The Big Three era is fading into the sunset, but the legacy? The legacy is safe. It's living in the furious left-handed forehand of a young woman from the Philippines who calls Mallorca home. And speaking of latest news, sources inside the academy are whispering that Rafa himself might be stepping into a more direct coaching role for Alex in 2026. Imagine that. The king of clay sitting in her box at Roland Garros. It sends shivers down the spine. We are hearing rumors that they are already testing new racket specs to add even more spin to her game, tailoring her style to dominate the clay season just like he did. If that happens, the rest of the WTA tour better watch out. But wait, we are not done yet. Because to truly understand the magnitude of this gold medal victory, we have to talk about who she had to beat. The road to this final wasn't paved with roses. It was paved with absolute killers. Let's look at the semifinal. Ila was up against the top seed, a player who has been terrorizing the Asian circuit for the last 2 years. The pundits said it was a mismatch. They said Alex didn't have the power. In the first set, it looked like they were right. She was bullied off the baseline. 6-1. It was ugly. I was watching the match, and I'll be honest with you, I turned to my producer and said, "It's over." The body language was slumped. The head was down. It looked like the pressure of the Nadal's daughter label was finally crushing her. But then, the rain delay happened. A 20-minute break. And this is where the Nadal influence truly showed up. Cameras caught Alex sitting on the bench. She wasn't checking her phone. She wasn't panicking. She was staring at her water bottles, lining them up. Exactly like Rafa. It was a small detail, a ritual, but it was a signal. She was resetting the computer. She was channeling the matador. When she came back out, it was a different player. She started using the moon ball, that high, heavy spin that Rafa used to destroy Federer's backhand. She slowed the game down. She dragged her opponent into the deep waters. And you know what happens when you drag a shark onto the sand? They suffocate. Alex won the second set 7-5. By the third set, her opponent was cramping, mentally broken, looking at her coach for answers that weren't there. Alex took it 6-love. A bagel to finish the match. That is not just winning. That is sending a message. That is saying, I own this court. And this brings us back to the rumors swirling around the locker room. There is talk. And remember, you heard it here first, that major sponsors are lining up to sign Alex to lifetime deals. We are talking Nike. We are talking Babolat. They see what we see. They see the next global icon. But amidst all the cash and the fame, Alex remains grounded. And that brings us back to her father, Mike. After the heart-shattered comment went viral, Mike Ila was asked for a response. And this man, this stoic, supportive father, simply smiled. He didn't get defensive. He didn't try to correct the narrative. He said, her heart had to break so it could grow bigger. I would break it 1,000 times if it meant she became the woman she is today. Can we just take a moment for that? The absolute wisdom of that family. It's rare in professional sports. Usually, you have the overbearing tennis dads who fight with coaches and scream from the sidelines. But the Ilas? They are class acts. They understood the assignment. They trusted the process, even when it hurt. And Rafa? He's been seen at the academy a lot more lately. Since his semi-retirement, he's been on the court with the juniors every single day. But his sessions with Alex are different. They are intense. So, when you see her step onto the court next month, don't just look at the score. Look at the fire. Look at the hunger. And remember the two men who helped light it. As we head into the new year, the question on everyone's lips is, what is the ceiling for Alex Ila? Top 50? Top 10? Grand Slam champion? If you ask me, the ceiling doesn't exist. When you have the technique of a Spanish legend and the heart of a Filipino warrior, the sky is the limit. We are going to be following her journey every step of the way here on Champions Tennisitics. We will be analyzing her serve mechanics in our next video, breaking down exactly how she added 10 miles per hour to her first serve this offseason. We've got the slow-mo footage, and it is fascinating. She's changed her toss. She's changed her knee bend. It's a whole new weapon. So, make sure you are locked in. This is going to be the year of Ila. The year the daughter becomes the queen. And one last thing before I go, I want to give a shout out to the tennis community in the Philippines. You guys are the most passionate fans in the world. I see your comments. I see your flags in the chat. You guys are the reason this channel is growing so fast. Mabuhay, what do you guys think? Is Alex Ila the future world number one? And do you think Rafa will officially become her full-time coach next year? I want to hear your theories in the comments below. And hey, if you love this deep dive, do me a favor. Smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and ring that bell. We have got some exclusive interviews lined up for the Australian Open coverage that you do not want to miss. I'm Mike. This is Champions Tennisitics. Thank you for the 1,000 subs. Thank you for being the best community on YouTube. Enjoy the festive break if you're celebrating, and have a blessed week if you're not. Big things coming in the new year, so stay tuned. From the shattered heart to the golden moment. What a story. What a player. Champions Tennisitics, signing off.